I've seriously had enough. Lily Harper brought another guy home. This one was wearing gold-rimmed glasses, a tailored suit, and a tie, carrying a box of chocolates that looked like they cost a week's wages. I was crouched in the hallway, fixing my bike chain, hands covered in black grease. She walked right past me, her high heels clicking on the concrete, without even batting an eyelid. The guy, however, gave me a look. I knew that looked too well. It was pity mixed with a dose of superiority, like he was looking at a piece of gum stuck to the floor. "Lily, who's this?" His voice was gentle. Lily finally turned back and glanced at me. "Oh, just a neighbor." Her tone was as bland as if she were introducing a public trash can. "Caleb Stone. We grew up together." She paused, then added, "He does odd jobs. Sometimes he fixes things for me." I kept my head down and continued tightening the screw. The screwdriver slipped, smearing grease across my knuckles. "Is that so?" The man smiled and extended a hand. "Nice to meet you. I'm Lily's boyfriend, Preston Hayes. I work in investment banking." I didn't take it. I held up my blackened palm. "Dirty," I said. Preston's smile froze for half a second before he naturally withdrew his hand. Lily had already unlocked the door. She was wearing a dress I hadn't seen before, baby blue, making her skin look blindingly pale. Her hair was curled, cascading over her shoulders. "Come on in," she said to Preston, her voice an octave softer than usual. "I'll get you some water." The door closed. Just before it clicked shut, I heard Preston say, "Your neighbor. He's quite a character." Then came Lily's soft laugh. "Don't mention him." Then the sound of the latch. Click. I was left alone in the hallway. I stayed crouched, staring at the patch of black grease on my hand. Sticky, dirty, the kind that never really wipes off. Right. I was the odd jobs guy Lily talked about. I was also the childhood friend she'd known since we were in diapers. Our families lived wall to wall in the old row houses on the south side. The oak tree in her yard stretched its branches right over my roof. When we were kids, she was clumsy climbing that tree. Every time she fell, I was underneath to catch her. She'd crash into my arms, giggling, saying, "Caleb, your chest is like a rock." Later, her dad struck it rich in business, and they moved away. I stayed in the city, working construction, hauling bricks. The first day I saw her again, she was crying in a 7-Eleven, eyes swollen like peaches. She had just graduated college. Her landlord had scammed her out of her deposit, and she was broke, squatting between the aisles, eating a cold rice ball. I shoved my crumpled, cement-dusted $500 into her hand. She said, "Caleb, what are you doing here?" I said, "Making money." She stared at my old t-shirt and torn sneakers for a long time. Finally, she said, "I rented a 2-bedroom. The second room is empty. Come live there." We split the rent. I told her I didn't have the money. She said, "Oh me." That debt lasted 4 years. For 4 years, I watched her change jobs, climbing from a junior clerk to a department head. I watched her date, break up, date again, break up again. I stayed crouched in this rundown hallway, fixing the endless cycle of broken bikes, leaking washers, and squeaky closet doors. Being the neighbor she grew up with, being Caleb with the odd jobs. My phone buzzed. I pulled it out. The screen had a crack down the middle. It was a text from Lily. "Don't cook tonight. Preston is taking us out." I stared at those words for a full minute. Then I typed back. My hands were too greasy. It took a few tries to hit send. Preston picked the restaurant. A place that cost $500 a head, dimly lit like a haunted house, with little candles on every table. The waiters were dressed better than I was. Lily and Preston sat on one side. I sat opposite. The menu was handed to me. I scanned it. A steak was $480. That was enough gas money for half a month. Preston naturally handed the menu to Lily, saying, "You order. Get whatever you want." Lily took it, head ducked, hair sliding down to hide her profile. She was wearing lipstick today, a tender shade like a ripe cherry. She never used to wear makeup. When we squatted on the curb eating street tacos, she was barefaced, hissing from the spice, nose sweating, fanning herself with her hand, saying, "Caleb, next time don't use so much hot sauce." The next time, she'd order extra spicy again. "Caleb, what do you want?" Lily looked up and asked. Before I could speak, Preston smiled. "The steak here is excellent. Why not try it?" His tone was mild, but his eyes were fixed on the frayed collar of my t-shirt. "Or seafood. How about the lobster?" "Steak is fine," I said. "How would you like it cooked?" "Well done." Preston smiled again. "Well done might be a bit tough," he said. "Usually, medium or medium rare is recommended." "Well done," I repeated. Lily glanced at me, said nothing, and tapped the order into the tablet. While waiting for the food, Preston started talking about his recent projects, multi-million-dollar financing rounds, meeting this CEO and that chairman, talking about buying a Porsche next year, talking about plans to buy a penthouse downtown 2,000 square feet with floor-to-ceiling windows. Lily listened, smiling occasionally, nodding. She was exceptionally quiet today, too quiet to be the Lily I knew. The Lily I knew would steal meat from my bowl, called her boss a moron, kick me with her foot while lying on the couch, saying, "Caleb, go mop the floor, I'm shedding hair everywhere." Not this one. This Lily, sitting ramrod straight, with a smile measured by a ruler. "What line of work are you in, Mr. Stone?" Preston suddenly turned the topic to me. "Odd jobs," I said. "Specifically, anything. Food delivery, moving, designated driving." Preston nodded, looking sympathetic. "It's not easy, but it's good for young people to build character." He paused. "My company is hiring a warehouse manager. 9 to 5, full benefits, and 401k. Want me to ask around for you?" Lily nudged Preston's leg under the table. I saw it clearly. Preston paused, then laughed. "Lily, look at you. I just want to help. Mr. Stone is your friend, after all." "No need," I interrupted. Preston looked at me. "I have a job," I said. "What job?" Lily asked suddenly. She stared at me, her eyes piercingly bright in the candlelight. I opened my mouth. "Construction," I finally said. Lily stopped talking. She lowered her head to cut the steak that had just arrived, the knife screeching against the plate. That meal lasted nearly 2 hours. Preston paid the bill, $1,600. Walking out, Lily was ahead, and Preston held me back. "Mr. Stone." His voice dropped low. "There are things Lily feels awkward saying, so I'll say them for her." I looked at him. "You and Lily have known each other for years. There's a bond. I get it." His tone was sincere. "But she's different now. She's my girlfriend. We're going to get married, buy a house, have kids. It's not really appropriate for you to keep living next door." I didn't make a sound. "Of course, I know things are tight for you right now." Preston pulled a stack of cash from his wallet, 50s, probably 3 or 4 grand. "Take this. Find a new place. If it's not enough, let me know." He tried to shove the money into my hand. I didn't take it. The bills fell to the ground, scattering. Lily turned around and saw it. Her face went white. "Preston." Her voice trembled. "What are you doing?" Preston quickly bent down to pick up the cash, saying, "Nothing. I just want to help Mr. Stone. Let's go home." Lily cut him off, walking over to grab his arm. She didn't look at me, not even a glance. Preston let her drag him away, looking back to give me an apologetic smile. I stood there, looking at the scattered money on the pavement. Then I crouched down and picked it up bill by bill. The top one still had Preston's business card pressed against it. Preston Hayes, Vice President, XYZ Capital. Gold embossed lettering. Real pretty. I took the stack of cash and walked back to the old building. The hallway light had been broken for 2 weeks. No one had fixed it. I climbed to the 5th floor in the dark and took out my key. The door next to mine was closed. I unlocked my own door, went in, and deadbolted. The apartment was tiny, 1 bedroom, 1 living room, cluttered with stuff. But I didn't go into the bedroom. I walked to the living room wall. This wall was shared with Lily's unit. She used to knock on it, thump, 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 3 long, 2 short. Our childhood code. It meant, "Caleb, come over, I'm scared." She was afraid of thunder, afraid of the dark, afraid of sleeping alone. Over the last 4 years, I couldn't count how many times this wall had been knocked. I stood there for a moment, then reached out and pressed a specific spot on the wall. A panel slid open silently. Inside was a hidden space. Not big, maybe 100 square feet. Hanging on the wall were a dozen monitors glowing with blue light. Data scrolled across the screens. Candlestick charts, forex rates, commodity prices. The central screen displayed an email inbox. Sender, Swiss Bank Private Client Manager. Subject, report on your fund's recent performance. I sat in the chair and opened another interface. Logged in, enter the password. The screen shifted to show the account overview. The number was long. I stared at it for a few seconds, then closed it. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. I answered. A male voice on the other end, very respectful. "Mr. Stone, we have the results on a matter you asked us to investigate." "Speak." "Preston Hayes, 28, currently Vice President at XYZ Capital. But the company is actually controlled by his father. He holds no real power. Additionally, he has 3 defaulted loans in his name, and his credit history is flagged. Recently, he's been in contact with Ms. Harper's company regarding a project, seemingly intending to use that relationship to secure financing." I listened, saying nothing. Also, the voice paused. "Preston has a fiancée overseas. It's a family-arranged marriage, scheduled for next year." I tapped my finger on the desk. "Understood." I hung up and looked back at the wall. Lily was on the other side. What is she doing now? Chatting with Preston? Laughing? Planning a future? I closed my eyes, and memories flashed through my mind. 7 years old. She fell into the drainage ditch in the alley. I jumped in to fish her out. Two mud monkeys climbed out, and she cried until snot bubbles formed, saying, "Caleb, I thought I was going to die." 12 years old, her first period. She was too scared to leave the school bathroom. I jumped the fence to buy pads at the corner store, the female owner laughing at me the whole time. 18 years old, her dad went bankrupt. Debt collectors blocked the door. She held onto my arm, shaking, saying, "Caleb, is our family finished?" 28 years old today. She brought another man to tell me I should move out. I opened my eyes, picked up my phone, and scrolled to the bottom of the contacts to a number saved without a name. I dialed. It rang 5 times before connecting. "Mr. Stone." The other party sounded surprised. "You finally contacted me." "That property I mentioned before," I said. "Can we finalize the paperwork tomorrow?" "The penthouse at the Pinnacle?" "Of course. Will you be paying in full?" "Yeah. Also, find me a moving company." "When?" "Tomorrow morning." "Understood. And your current address is?" I gave him the address. He noted it down, then asked cautiously, "Do you need help disposing of your current furniture?" "No," I said. "Leave it all. Leave. Everything. Don't take a single piece." "Very well." After hanging up, I made another call. "Mr. Sterling, it's me, Caleb." "Oh, Mr. Stone, you finally called. I emailed you the yield report on that last venture capital project. Please take a look." "That's not urgent," I interrupted. "You mentioned last time that Lily Harper's company has a project looking for investors?" Right, Miss Harper sighed. "It's a creative arts initiative. They want to develop a new product line and need startup capital. Is Mr. Stone interested? Contact them under your company's name. Don't mention me." "Understood. And the investment amount?" "Whatever she needs, give double," I said. "Only one condition." "Name it." "Make Preston Hayes exit the deal." There was a pause on the other end. "Preston Hayes? He's also pursuing this project." "Mr. Stone, do you have a conflict with him?" "No." I looked out at the dark, heavy sky. "I just don't like his face." "Mr. Sterling gave a dry laugh. "Understood. I'll handle it." "Also," I added, "don't let Lily know it's me. Rest assured, consider it done." By the time I finished my calls, it was 1:00 a.m. I sat back in the chair and opened one of the surveillance feeds. Not Lily's apartment. The hallway. On the screen, my front door stood empty. I watched it for a long time, until my eyes felt gritty. Then I turned off all the screens, and the wall panel slid shut. The room returned to its original state. Cramped, messy, piled with cheap junk. I walked into the bedroom and dragged an old suitcase out from under the bed. Opened it and started packing. There wasn't much. A few clothes, some documents, an old laptop, and a small rusty tin box. I opened the tin. Inside were bits and pieces. Glass marbles, faded plastic hair clips, a few crumpled candy wrappers. Pressed at the very bottom was a photo. 2 kids squatting by a ditch in the alley, covered in mud, grinning stupidly at the camera. The girl was missing a front tooth. The boy's hair was matted into clumps by the mud. Behind them, written in wobbly chalk, "Caleb and Lily, best friends forever." I stared at the photo for a long time. Then I tucked it into the hidden compartment of my wallet, closed the suitcase, zipped it up. The sound was harsh in the silent night. I carried the case to the door and looked back at this room one last time. For years, I pretended to be a poor man here for 4 years. Pretended to be the loser childhood friend. Pretended for 4 years, waiting for the day she'd turn around and see me. But she didn't turn around. People ultimately chase profit. She held another man's hand and walked forward, never looking back once. I closed the door, leaving the key in the lock. The movers arrived earlier than I expected. Just as the sky was turning gray, a truck rumbled into the old complex, waking up all the neighbors who were still dreaming. Several burly men in matching uniforms jumped out and knocked on my door. "Mr. Stone? Moving, right?" I nodded, stepping aside to let them in. "Where's the stuff?" the foreman asked. I pointed to the bedroom and living room. "Just this. Move all." The foreman scanned the shabby furniture in the room and paused. "All of it, even these old tables and chairs." "Move it." "And the address for the new place?" "The Pinnacle, Tower 7 penthouse." The foreman's eyes went wide instantly. The workers behind him looked at each other. The Pinnacle," the foreman stammered. The one that's $1,000 a square foot." "Yeah. Penthouse. That's the full floor unit, right? I heard it's 1 unit per floor, over 4,000 square feet." 5,600, I corrected him. The foreman stopped talking, looking at me like I was an alien. No wonder. I was still wearing the shapeless t-shirt from last night, $30 flip-flops on my feet, living in this dump that rented for $1,200 a month. And now I was saying I was moving into a $10 million property. Anyone would be confused. "Let's go," I repeated. Make it quick. The workers finally sprang into action, but their movements were noticeably more careful than before, handling everything with a delicate touch, as if this junk furniture were antique. The noise of moving was loud, chairs dragging, boxes bumping, workers shouting commands up and down the stairs. The door next to mine stayed shut. Lily shouldn't be working today. She got back so late last night, she was probably still sleeping. I stood in the hallway, staring at her door. The dark red security door, with paint chipping off in patches. A Lucky Cat wind chime she bought last year hung on the handle, ready to tinkle if the wind blew. There was no wind now. The chime hung motionless. A worker carried my nightstand out and asked if I wanted it. I said yes. But the leg on this cabinet is crooked, the worker muttered. Just move it. As we spoke, the door next to mine opened. Lily stood in the doorway in her pajamas, hair a mess, eyes still puffy. She looked at the furniture piled in the hall, looked at the workers coming and going, and finally looked at me. Caleb, her voice raspy with sleep. What are you doing? Moving, I said. She froze for a few seconds. Moving? Moving where? New place. What new place? She walked over, grabbing my arm. Why are you suddenly moving? Everything was fine yesterday. Her hand was cold. I didn't shake her off, but I didn't answer either. A worker carried my old desk out of the room. A leg hit the door frame with a loud bang. Lily jumped, letting go of my hand. She looked at the desk. The surface was covered in scratches, including a few words I'd carved with a pocket knife. Lily is a pig. Later, we had a fight, and she scratched at my arm. You're taking all this junk? Lily pointed at the desk. Caleb, are you desperate for cash? Selling old furniture for scrap won't get you much. Not selling, I interrupted. Taking it to the new house to use. New house? She laughed, like she'd heard a joke. Where did you get a new house? Rented? Shared? Caleb, don't be proud. If you can't pay rent, just tell me. I bought a place, I said. Lily's smile froze on her face. What? I bought a house. I repeated. At the Pinnacle. She stared at me as if she didn't understand English. The Pinnacle, she said each syllable slowly. The luxury complex? Yeah. You bought a place? At the Pinnacle. Her voice started to shake. Caleb, do you know how much the property values are there? I know. You know, and you're still talking nonsense. She suddenly raised her voice, eyes reddening. Did you go to a loan shark again? Or did you gamble? Caleb, I'm telling you, you can't do illegal things. You'll go to jail. She stomped her foot in panic, reaching out to grab me again. I took a step back. Her hand grasped at empty air. Lily's hand froze midair. She looked at me, the rims of her eyes turning redder. Caleb, her voice softened, thick with tears. Don't be like this. I know Preston giving you money yesterday was wrong. I scolded him for it. But you can't go do something reckless just out of spite. It's not spite, I said. Then where did the money come from? She stared at me. You've been doing odd jobs for years. You haven't saved enough to buy a bathroom. Caleb, tell me the truth. What is going on? I watched her silently, looking at her red eyes, her messy hair, and the collarbone exposed by her pajama neck. She'd lost weight. For 4 years, I cooked for her every day, trying every trick to fatten her up. But she always talked about dieting, putting down her chopsticks after 2 bites. Now her collarbone was so prominent. Those high-end restaurant Preston took her to clearly didn't fill her up. Caleb, seeing I wasn't speaking, she got more frantic. Say something. The money is saved, I said. Saved? How long did you save? For years? 40 years? Caleb, don't I know how much you make a month? 3,000? 4,000? How did you save millions? Her voice was so loud the workers stopped what they were doing, sneaking glances our way. The foreman walked over, asking cautiously, Mr. Stone, are we still moving? Yes, I said. Keep going. The workers started moving again. Lily was left standing there like an outsider. She watched piece after piece of furniture get carried downstairs, watched my small room slowly become empty. Finally, only the bare concrete floor and a few nail holes in the wall remained. You're really leaving? Her voice was very quiet, almost inaudible. Yeah. Why? I didn't answer. Why? What could I say? Say that I've loved you for over a decade. Say that watching you with someone else hurts like being stabbed. Lily, for years, I was like a thief, stealing glimpses of your life. Now I don't want to steal anymore. No reason, I said. Just want to live somewhere else. Tears spilled from Lily's eyes, one after another, smashing onto the concrete floor, blooming into dark circles. Caleb, she cried, are you mad at me? Because of Preston? I'll break up with him, okay? I'll break up with him right now. Don't move away. She reached for my hand. I dodged it. It has nothing to do with him, I said. Lily, I just want to move. Liar, she screamed. You are mad at me. You're mad I didn't stick up for you yesterday. Mad I embarrassed you, aren't you? But what could I do? Preston is my boyfriend. I couldn't just. In front of him. She stopped, crying harder now. I was wrong. Caleb, I was wrong, okay? Don't go. I won't let him come over anymore. I won't bring anyone over. Just us two like before. She was sobbing so hard she couldn't catch her breath, crouching on the ground, shoulders shaking. Like when she fell as a kid, waiting for me to pull her up. But this time I didn't pull. I picked up my suitcase and walked past her. Caleb, she shouted from behind. Caleb, I hate you. Her voice was hoarse. If you leave, don't come back. My footsteps paused. Then I continued down the stairs. Her crying echoed in the stairwell. I turned back that other time. I wouldn't this time. When the truck drove out of the complex, I looked in the rearview mirror. Lily was still standing at the entrance to the stairwell, wearing pajamas, barefoot, hair whipping in the wind. She kept watching the direction the car was going, motionless, like a statue. The driver asked quietly, Mr. Stone, that girl. Drive faster, I said. The driver shut up and stepped on the gas. The car turned out of the complex and merged into traffic. In the mirror, that silhouette got smaller and smaller until it became a dot and vanished. I looked away out the window. I lived in the city for 4 years, but never really looked at it. Always busy, revolving around her. Now I noticed the sycamore trees by the road had grown so tall, their branches reaching for the sky. Sunlight leaked through the leaves, scattering like broken gold on the car window. It hurt my eyes. My phone buzzed. It was Lily. I stared at the name flashing on the screen for a long time. Then I hung up. She called again. I hung up again. I turned the phone off completely. The world went quiet. The driver glanced at me in the mirror, looking like he wanted to say something. If you want to say something, say it, I said. Mr. Stone, that girl just now, was she your girlfriend? No. Oh, I saw her crying pretty hard, thought maybe. Drive the car. You got it. When we arrived at the Pinnacle, the security guard at the gate stopped us. I rolled down the window. The guard saw me and paused, but still asked respectfully, Hello, may I ask which unit you are visiting? Tower 7, penthouse. I handed him the access card. The guard saw the card, his face changed, and he immediately stood at attention and saluted. Mr. Stone, apologies for not recognizing you. Please go ahead. The gate lifted and the truck drove in. The driver whistled as he drove. Mother of God, this complex is like a park. That fountain, is that real gold? I ignored him. The truck stopped under Tower 7. The property manager was already waiting at the entrance with 4 uniformed staff members. Mr. Stone, welcome home. The manager bowed. Leave the moving to us. You go on up and rest. Yeah. I got out and walked into the lobby. The elevator was private, direct to the top floor. The elevator doors opened directly into my foyer. 5,600 square feet, panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows, the entire city spread out beneath my feet. Sunlight flooded in without obstruction, reflecting off the polished marble floors, bright enough to blind. The workers carried the old furniture in piece by piece, placing it in the cavernous living room where it looked completely out of place. That broken desk, the crooked nightstand, the peeling chairs, like beggars breaking into a palace. The manager looked at this junk, the corner of his mouth twitching, but professional discipline kept his smile in place. Mr. Stone, where should we place this furniture? Anywhere. In your original furniture. Throw it out. Throw it out. The manager's eyes popped. But those are Italian imports, custom-made. The set cost over $3 million. I said, throw it out. I repeated, clear out today. The manager swallowed hard. Understood. He turned to make calls to arrange it. I walked to the window and looked out. From this height, the city looked like a toy set made of blocks. Traffic looked like ants. People walking on the streets were too small to see. That old apartment complex in the southeast corner was a gray smudge, like a dirty rag. What was Lily doing now? Still crying? Or had she dried her tears and called Preston to complain? I pulled out my phone and turned it on. 99 plus missed calls. WeChat exploded with messages. All from Lily. The last one was sent 10 minutes ago. Caleb, my stomach hurts. My finger froze. Lily had stomach issues, a souvenir from irregular eating in college. As soon as she got hungry, it hurt. When it hurt, she broke out in a cold sweat and curled up on the bed shaking. For the last 4 years, I watched her eat, making sure she didn't miss breakfast or dinner, nursing her stomach back to health. Yesterday, she barely touched that steak. She didn't eat this morning. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I locked the screen and tossed the phone onto the sofa. Turning to the manager, I said, order me a car. What model would you like? Whatever. Just get today. Certainly, I'll handle it immediately. The manager jogged away. I walked back to the window and lit a cigarette. The smoke curled up, dissipating in the sunlight. Lily, find the medicine yourself this time. The first aid kit is in the second drawer under the TV stand. The kettle is broken. Remember to use the old one on the left. Don't forget again. 3 days. Lily's text bombing hadn't stopped. From initial interrogation to tearful pleading, finally turning into a daily stomach hurts. I didn't reply to a single one. Phone on silent, screen face down on the table. The new Maybach was parked downstairs, never driven. I just holed up in this 5,000 square foot empty house, sitting on the floor, smoking in front of the window. The ashtray was the drawer from that crooked nightstand, cigarette butts piled into a mountain. On the morning of the 4th day, the doorbell rang. I thought it was the building management, so I went to answer it barefoot. Lily was standing outside. She had lost a shocking amount of weight. Her eyes were swollen into slits, hair tied back haphazardly, still wearing those pajamas, now wrinkled like a pickled vegetable. She was holding a thermos. Seeing me, her lips trembled, but she didn't speak. I didn't speak either. We stood there in the doorway like two idiot statues. Finally, she moved first. She shoved the thermos into my chest. Her fingers were ice cold against my skin. Sue. Her voice was terribly raspy. The kind you used to make me. I looked down at the thermos. Pink, printed with a cartoon rabbit, the paint chipped off the ears. I bought it for her junior year when she had a fever. Used for 5 years. Eat it while it's hot, she added, turning to leave. Lily, I called her. Her back stiffened. Where's Preston? I asked. Didn't come to keep you company? Her shoulders shuddered, but she didn't turn back. Broken up. Why? No reason. Her voice trembled. Just broke up. I remembered Mr. Sterling's report from the day before yesterday. Preston's company had a severed capital chain. His overseas fiancé's family pulled their investment, and he was in deep trouble. The investors for Lily's project specifically demanded he be cut out. She probably found out. Because he's useless now? I said. Lily spun around, eyes bloodshot. Caleb, do you have to talk like that? How should I talk? I put the thermos on the floor. Congratulations on dumping the trash? She glared at me, huge tears rolling down. Yes, he's trash. I'm blind. I deserve it. She wiped her face, smearing snot and tears over her hand. But what about you? You pretended to be poor and tricked me for 4 years, watching me run around you like an idiot. Was it fun? I didn't trick you, I said. Didn't trick me? She laughed, a sound uglier than crying. Living in a dump, wearing street stall clothes, working odd jobs. That's all not tricking me. Caleb, how much is a unit at the Pinnacle? How much are these clothes? That watch on your wrist. I've seen it in magazines. 7 figures, right? She grabbed my wrist. Patek Philippe Celestial Vacheron Constantine Limited Edition. I forgot to take it off. Watching me scrimp and save to pay your electric bill. Watching me pull all-nighters for a few $100 of overtime. Watching me get bullied by colleagues and being too scared to quit. Her fingernails dug into my flesh. Did it feel good? Did you think I was pathetic? I didn't move. Let her pinch. Say something. She screamed. Say something, damn it, Caleb. Say what? I looked at her. Say that I like you? That I've liked you for over 10 years and was too scared to tell you. She froze. Her hand loosened. You said, what? I said I love you, Lily. I enunciated every word. Since you were running around in diapers with a runny nose, I've loved you. She stepped back, hitting the wall. Bullshit. She shook her head. You're lying. My parents left a trust fund. I could access it when I turned legal. I said, when I was 20, the account had this many zeros. I made a gesture. Her eyes went wide. Then why didn't you tell me? Her voice went shrill. Why pretend to be poor? Why watch me struggle like that and not say anything? Caleb, when I ate instant noodles 7 days a week to save money, what were you thinking? When I was too cheap to turn on the heat in winter and froze until I got a fever, what were you thinking? When my landlord kicked me out and I was crying on the street with my suitcase, what were you thinking? She threw herself at me, fists pounding my chest. Hard. Once, twice. Speak. Are you mute? I grabbed her wrists. She struggled, couldn't break free, so she lowered her head and bit my arm. Bit down hard, teeth sinking into meat. I didn't let go. Blood seeped out, staining her teeth. She tasted the blood and suddenly let go as if waking from a trance, staring blankly at the bleeding bite mark on my arm. Feel better? I asked. She shook her head, tears falling onto my wound, stinging. No. She sobbed. Caleb, I hate you. I hate you to death. She slid down, crouching on the floor, holding her head and wailing, like a kitten left in the rain. I crouched down too, reaching out to touch her hair. She dodged. Don't touch me. My hand froze in midair. Lily, I said. I pretended to be poor because I was afraid. She looked up, glaring at me with red eyes. Afraid of what? Afraid I was after your money. Afraid you'd change. I looked at her, afraid that you weren't the same Lily from my memories. She paused. When your dad got rich, all the kids in the neighborhood hung around you. I said, you gave them chocolates, imported cookies. Later when your family went bankrupt, they cursed you, threw paint on your door. I remember you crying under that oak tree, saying, Caleb, why are they like this? You said, people turn bad when they get money and get stepped on when they don't. I wonder then, if I had money, would you turn into that? Would you treat me like those kids treated you? Lily stopped crying. She stared at me blankly, like she didn't know me. Later, my parents died. The money was tied up. I came here looking for you. Saw you crying in that 7-11. Back then I thought, damn, Lily's broke too. But I was also kind of happy. I twitched the corner of my mouth. Happy that you were still you. Still the Lily who cried over $500. So, I didn't say my parents left money. I said I did odd jobs. I was poor. I couldn't afford rent. You let me move in. Said I could owe the rent. Lily, I stole those 4 years. Every morning watching you rush out with toast in your mouth. Every night listening to you curse your boss, making you hangover soup at midnight. My voice rasped. I just thought this is good. You didn't change. I didn't change. Just like back in the old neighborhood. You fall, I catch you. You're hungry, I cook. You cry, I couldn't help it. Her tears surged again. You could have told me. She choked out. Caleb, you could have told me. Tell you, and then what? I asked. Watch you tiptoe around me. Watch you stop stealing meat from my bowl. Watch you smile at me like you're wearing a mask, just like you did with Preston. I wouldn't. You would. I cut her off. Lily, you changed. From the day you brought the first guy home, you changed. Her face went completely pale. You wore dresses I couldn't afford, sprayed perfume I couldn't buy, laughed with men I couldn't talk to. I stood up, looking down at her. I was right next door, listening, watching. I knew I had to leave. She scrambled up in a panic, grabbing my arm. No, Caleb, it wasn't like that. She was incoherent. I brought them home because I wanted to make you mad. I froze. I wanted to make you mad. She cried out. I wanted you to slam the door. I wanted you to pin me against the wall and ask what I meant. I wanted you to say, Lily, you're mine. Don't go with anyone else. Her nails dug into me. But you never got mad. You just stood there fixing bikes, fixing washing machines like you were deaf and blind and stupid. I swapped one after another, each richer than the last, each more respectable than the last. But you didn't even give me a second look. She cried until she couldn't breathe. Caleb, I didn't know what else to do. I could only find Preston. He was the richest, the most respectable. I thought, this time you'd have to care, right? And then, I heard my own voice shaking. Did I care? You cared. She gave a miserable laugh. You moved out. Silence filled the hallway. Only her suppressed sobbing. I stared at her, my mind blank. Everything I thought, it was all wrong. Those displays, that pettiness, that laughter she made sure I heard. It was all calling me to turn around, calling me to look at her. Lily, I called her name. She looked up, sobbing. I yanked her over, pinned her against the wall, and lowered my head to kiss her. Hard, smashing into her with a muffled grunt. Her lips were cracked, tasting of salty tears and metallic blood. She froze for 2 seconds, then went crazy, biting my lip, pulling my hair, scratching my neck. Like she was fighting for her life. I didn't let go. Let her bite, let her scratch, holding her dead tight in my arms. Until she lost her strength, melting against me, the biting turning into licking, the scratching turning into hugging. When we pulled apart, there was blood on both our mouths. Couldn't tell whose it was. She was panting, eyes as red as a rabbit's. Caleb Stone, she said, voice raspy. You're a bastard. Yeah. I wiped my mouth. I'm a bastard. You tricked me for 4 years. Yeah. You made me look like an idiot. Yeah. You. She held it in for a long time, finally squeezing out. Are you going to eat that soup or not? I blinked, then laughed. I'll eat it. She glared at me, bent down to pick up the thermos, and shoved it into my chest. It's cold. I'll eat it cold. I unscrewed the lid and took a big swig right from the thermos. It was definitely cold. The chicken soup had congealed into a jelly, thick and greasy. She made it. She always cooked with too little water and too much heat, turning everything into paste. Tastes awful, I said. If it's awful, don't drink it. She reached to grab it back. I dodged and took another swig. But it's edible. She stopped moving, looking at me, eyes reddening again. Caleb, yeah. Are you still leaving? Not leaving. She froze. What? I put the thermos on the floor, took my wallet out of my pocket, and pulled out the bank card. All yours. She didn't take it, staring at the card like it was a bomb. What? What does this mean? Dowry, I said. To marry you. Her knees buckled. I caught her just in time. Say that again. Lily. I looked in her eyes. Will you marry me? She didn't speak, just glared at me, tears streaming down. Marry or don't marry. I repeated, one word or two. She opened her mouth, no sound came out, then suddenly squatted down, hugging her knees and wailing. Cried her heart out, like she was crying out all the grievances of the last 4 years. I squatted down and pulled her into my arms. She struggled, bit my shoulder, pounded my back. I didn't let go. She tired herself out hitting me, cried herself hoarse, and collapsed against me, twitching. Caleb, yeah, my stomach hurts. Deserve it. You cooked the soup. Yeah. Add extra chicken. Yeah. And rice. Yeah. Don't burn it. I'll try. She lifted her head, eyes swollen like peaches, nose bright red. You aren't allowed to lie to me anymore. Won't lie. Aren't allowed to pretend to be poor. Won't pretend. Aren't allowed to ignore me. If I ignore you, I'm a dog. She looked at me for a long time, then leaned in and gently touched her lips to mine. Caleb, yeah, I like you too, she whispered. Like you for a long, long time. My heart felt like it was being squeezed, aching and swelling all at once. Since when? I asked, voice hoarse. Since the day you jumped in the ditch to fish me out. She buried her face in my neck. You were covered in mud, but you picked a wildflower for me and said, stop crying. You look ugly. I remembered. That had happened. The flower was plucked from the roadside, wilted, covered in dirt. She took it back then and cried even harder. And then, I asked, and then I just fell for you. Her voice was muffled, but you treated me like a brother, like a neighbor, like a moocher. No matter how many hints I dropped, you didn't get it. I told you not to bring men home. Did you listen? I did that to annoy you. She looked up and glared. Who told you to always treat me like a kid? You are a kid. I pinched her cheek. A kid who burns the soup. She tried to bite me again. I dodged. She missed and fell into my chest. We sat on the floor, facing that thermos of cold jellied soup, and laughed. Laughing until she started crying again. Caleb, yeah, let's go home. This is home. No. She shook her head. Back to our home. The dump. I was silent. I want to eat the ramen you cook. Want to lie on that broken sofa. Want to hear the couple next door fighting. She wrapped her arms around my neck. This place is too big. I am scared. I looked out the window. A 5,000 square foot mansion. Panoramic views, half the city beneath my feet. Empty, like a magnificent coffin. Okay, I said. Her eyes lit up. Really? Yeah. I kissed her forehead. We live where you want to live. She burst into laughter through her tears, leaning in to kiss me, smearing snot and tears all over my face. Then let's go right now. Wait. I held her back. What? I took out my phone and dialed a number. Mr. Sterling, list the penthouse in Tower 7. Sell it. You set the price. Yeah, full cash, quick sale. Hanging up, Lily was dumbfounded. Are you crazy? This place is worth millions. I wouldn't want it for billions. I pulled her up. Come on, let's go home and cook noodles. She stood still, looking at me, eyes red again. Caleb, what now, princess? Will you suddenly disappear again? No. Swear. I swear. I held up 3 fingers. If I disappear again, may I be poor forever. She finally smiled, a snot bubble popping, making her laugh at herself. So ugly. I wiped her face. If it's ugly, don't look. I'm looking. I lowered my head and kissed her. Ugly or not. We walked downstairs into the sunset, hand in hand, like 2 kids skipping school. Left the Maybach in the garage. Took a cab back to the dilapidated neighborhood. The driver watched us in the rearview mirror, eyes weirded out. Probably never saw anyone take a taxi from the Pinnacle to the projects. Lily leaned on my shoulder and fell asleep. Still clutching that thermos, the rabbit's chipped ears swaying. I looked at her sleeping face, eyelashes still wet with tears. Suddenly felt like these 4 years were worth it. Pretending to be poor, putting on a show, watching her leave with others. As long as it was her in the end. It was worth it. The car stopped under the old building. The hallway light was still broken. I carried her upstairs on my back. She mumbled in her sleep. Caleb, yeah, don't lie to me. Won't lie. Don't leave. Won't leave. I want ramen. Buying it tomorrow. 2 packs. You'll burst. She giggled, nuzzling my neck. Happy to burst. 5th floor. I put her down and took out the key. The neighbor's door suddenly opened. The landlady poked her head out, saw us, and paused. Oh, Caleb's back? She had Lily. Made up. Made up, I said. Good, good. The landlady smiled. Lily's been miserable these past 2 days, crying at the door every day. Broke my heart to watch. Lily blushed, hiding behind me. Ma'am, we're heading in. I opened the door and pushed her inside. The door closed, shutting out the world. The room was exactly as I left it. Empty, concrete floor, nail marks on the wall. but sunlight streamed through the window, dust motes dancing in the beams. Felt like home. Lily stood in the middle of the room and spun around. Caleb, yeah, let's buy some furniture. Okay. I want that sofa, the soft one, big enough for two. Okay. And a big TV for movie nights. Okay. And she turned, throwing herself into my arms. And you, I hugged her, tightening my arms. Been yours for a long time. I kissed her hair. Always have been. Outside the window, the sun sank, burning the horizon orange. The old building had terrible soundproofing. The couple next door started fighting again, pots and pans clanging. Akid kried donstayers, astraikat yodet. The noise of life, loud and messy. We stood in the ruins, embracing. Like two strays, finally home. Caleb, yeah, I'm hungry. Cooking noodles. Add extra pork. Adding it. And an egg. Adding two. Caleb, what is it now? I love you. My hand paused. The water in the pot boiled. White steam rising. I know, I said. That's it. She wasn't satisfied. Noodles are gonna get soggy. I'll eat him soggy. I fished the ramen out, ladled the broth, topped it with a fried egg and pork. Steaming hot, smelling good. She came over, hugging my waist from behind, pressing her face to my back. Caleb, yeah, I want it too. There's more in the pot. Not that. Her voice was muffled. The words. I turned off the stove, turned around, and lifted her onto the counter. She gasped, wrapping her arms around my neck. Lily, I looked into her eyes. I love you. Her eyes curved into crescents. Say it again. I love you. Again. I love you. AG. I lowered my head and kissed her, kissing the remaining thousands of times into her. Outside, the sky turned dark. The lights of 10,000 homes turned on, one by one. One of them was ours.